So the Grizzlies' ability to consistently generate offense, the Grizzlies' ability to be able to both shoot and defend a three, those are two very important factors for them to find success moving forward without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark in the playoff. The two players now, the two biggest X factors for the Grizzlies now are without a doubt going to be Jaren Jackson Jr. and Dillon Brooks. And the reason, obviously, for Jaren Jackson Jr. is the Grizzlies simply need this. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to need to continue to play at a clearly all-NBA level for the Grizzlies to be able to win playoff series. And that starts with, number one, with him staying on the court. It's going to be a tough task for him to be able to do that because teams are certainly going to target trying to get him in foul trouble early in playoff games. But if Jaren can stay on the court, he's now built up a consistent enough level of play where he clearly can be elite on the offensive and defensive end, and he could be the difference maker. Jaren Jackson Jr.'s play itself can win us playoff series. We saw flashes of it last year. We saw it more consistent this year. I think there's a very good chance his play can win us a playoff series this season. So Jaren Jackson Jr. staying on the court and his overall play is the biggest X factor moving forward. But the reason why Dillon Brooks now becomes even more important is because of multiple ways that he can impact the game. Number one, he himself needs to stay on the court. We know that he can be prone to fouling a lot as well. But the Grizzlies are going to ask him to be a bit more complex. They're going to make his defensive utilization a bit more complex, just like we saw last year in the playoffs, where at times the Grizzlies had very successful lineups with Dillon playing the four. We saw in Friday night's game the Grizzlies feature a starting lineup of John Morant, Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, Dillon at the 4, Jaren at the 5. There's a very good chance that is our best lineup in playoff series moving forward. And if Dillon can play at the 4, or at the very least can be on the floor consistently, guarding the opposing team's best scorer, we know he can produce in that capacity. But even more importantly is Dillon continuing to settle into a role in which he is the fourth option on offense, but he's effective in that role, facilitating for others, making good shots, being able to hit threes consistently. If we could see Dillon shoot, over 40% from three, or at the very least, if we could see him shoot in the high 30s and take 3 to 5 threes per game, and he himself not take a lot of bad shots, that will be a huge boost to the Grizzlies, to where he's providing most of his value on defense, and when he is needed, he can be able to come through offensively. Over the past month, the past 2 to 4 weeks, Dillon has done a great job in that role. If he can continue to do that into the playoffs, that'll be a huge boost to Memphis. So Dillon and Jaren staying on the court, them being able to continue to make the defense for the Grizzlies one of the best of any teams in the playoffs, and Jaren overall being a primary option on offense, with Dillon being an effective contributor on offense when his number is called, those are what make Dillon Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. the two biggest X factors moving forward for the Grizzlies without Steven Adams.